when people push for too hard, for too long, too quickly, there is a sort of, minimal return response. And what I use this analogy for is, you can go as hard as you want, but can you match that with your recovery? So if you think of your body like an iPhone, it's the same thing, right? So if you run all your apps at once, so if you're doing 5 training sessions a week, you starve your body as much as you can, you limit your carbohydrates right down, energy sources of the body basically.
Yeah.
Your recovery, and if your recovery doesn't match that, you're wearing the body out quicker. The iPhone analogy is just a very easy way of explaining that you can go as intense as you want, but you have to charge your battery again. Yeah, that's why a lot of people give in after 4 weeks, because they've done everything. They've got no tools in the tank anymore. That's the problem with it.
So Kev, there's an analogy that I hear you use frequently, and I do like it, and I've stolen it. And when people ask me, I just say it's mine. But you say to a client, look, you have to understand your body is like an iPhone. Now that may sound crackers to some, but explain.
Yeah, I mean, getting clients to understand and get on board with something is probably what gets the best results. It's not just giving them a workout. It's not just giving them a nutrition. I try and educate them and get them to understand where
you want
they're
to understand the whys.
Yeah, why something happens, because when something clicks, it's unbelievable what can happen. And you can once you can get a client more on board with something because they've realized actually that is something that I've always done in the past, that has maybe been the limiting factor, and you get them through it, the trust and the connection that you get with a client is so much deeper afterwards. And one of the biggest things that I find is clients going too hard, too quickly, for too long, and then seeing hardly any results after a certain period, because you'll get quick results initially, and then they get to a point where it's quite stagnant, and they're just, why I'm doing everything, why can't I get results? Why is it not happening? And they get quite down with it. They lose motivation, and rightly so. I get it, but it's where they've always been in the past, and it's this part of the transformation journey that they get to, where it's always been that sticking point, and it's ended up, what happens? They just get to that point, and then they keep pushing. They don't think they're seeing returns, which is something that I always find is actually maybe not true. They're just not getting them at the pace that they think they should.
Yeah, and I think they're not realistic about the return they are expecting and what's actually possible.
It's like a graph. Everything goes like that eventually, and it's a law of diminishing returns. We've talked about this many times, but what I'm trying to get at is, when people push for too hard, for too long, too quickly, there is a sort of, minimal return response. And what I use this analogy for is, you can go as hard as you want, but can you match that with your recovery? And the phone is an easy analogy, I find, to get people to just go, I get it, right? So what do you have to do with your iPhone every night?
Most nights got to charge it up.
Yeah.
So I'm never off it.
Yeah, you're never off it. What happens when you've got your apps running? More apps on the phone. What happens? It
starts to slow down, become more sluggish. Capabilities of it don't work as quickly.
You don't update the software.
Yeah.
iPhone have got a knack for basically just slowing everything down. Yeah. But also, the apps make it run out quicker. Yeah. So your battery wears down more. Yeah. So if you think of your body like an iPhone, it's the same thing, right? So if you run all your apps at once, so if you're doing 5 training sessions a week, you starve your body as much as you can, you limit your carbohydrates right down, energy sources of the body basically.
Yeah.
Your recovery, and if your recovery doesn't match that, you're wearing the body out quicker. That's basically the way that I try and get clients to understand it. Yeah, of course, you've been getting good results up until this point, but it's because of that. It's because of that fast action. I says, what have you done to counteract that through good quality recovery? We can talk about massage, but fuel. What happens when people are on low calories for a long period of time? Your sleep gets affected as well. You start not enjoying stuff as much. Your intent and purpose isn't as good anymore. Yeah. The quality of your sessions suffers because of the volume of your training.
More output's poorer.
Exactly. So all these things, we always talk about homeostasis, that optimal line of where the body's happy and loves to sit. We're trying to change where that is.
Yeah.
And you can't. It doesn't like it until you reprogram it. Yeah. So reprogramming, basically, let's say you go on a diet of 16 weeks and you want to keep them losses, that 10% body fat that you've maybe lost,
Yeah.
you can't stay at them. What got you to that position, you can't stay there. You can't hold it at that. So let's say you were 2,500 calories, we took you down to maybe 1,700 calories by the end.
Yeah.
You can't hold at that position. That's not where your body should be staying at for that body, for that level. Yeah. So hopefully you've done it through strength training, conditioning, and you've been able to accumulate good capacity internally. I like to use the word capacity because you can build that. So you can go from 20 kilo dumbbells to 40 kilo dumbbells over a course of a 6 to 12 weeks, no problem. And that's a capacity change. But when you're lifting heavy and stuff like that, you can fuel to that capacity as well. So what people don't realize is they've built them weights up. You can build in a deficit, but if you've gone both ways to a point, you've sort of limited, that's the maximum potential you've got at that level.
You've reached the breaking point.
Yeah, so what we need to do now is we need to do what we call like a rebuild in that way. So we need to get them calories slowly but surely back up to optimal with maintenance calories basically. Yeah. And try and sit at that same body shape that we've done, or very minimal change with it, so that we've become the new normal almost. And that's why a lot of people go backwards, because they go back to their old habits straight away. And it's not about that, it's about rebuilding so that there's a new level. I love talking about like a game, and it's like different levels. You achieve one level, you optimize it.
It allows you to get to level 2.
And get a level 2 and level 3. So the iPhone analogy is just a very easy way of explaining that you can go as intense as you want, but you have to charge up battery again. If you don't, there will be a limit in capacity eventually, and it'll be quicker than you want it to be. Whereas if you're going to push harder, recover harder. What can you do to make sure that you're recovering as good as that as well? And that stress management, all these sort of things will help you get a longer term transformation and be able to actually achieve progress for longer as well.
And sustain it.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people give in after 4 weeks, because they've done everything. They've got no tools in the tank anymore. That's the problem with it. So your body is like an iPhone.
Guys, if you like that video, please check out more content from us on our YouTube channel. Now, so you don't miss anything, remember to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you receive all the notifications.